Hello and welcome, heroes, to the Crit Academy. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Austin.
And I'm your co-host, Ian.
This podcast was created to provide you, our heroes, with new and reusable material for both players and DMs.
We hope to inspire you with creative content that can bring you,
If
bring
only it was-
with you
If it was only written right there.
on your next adventure. Shh. I lost my place.
Your face.
My face caused it? What?
Our show may not be suitable for young children, but neither is our D&D games.
Our main topic today is the Adaptable NPCs by Grim Press, so I'm super excited by that. What a fantastic product. This thing really blew me away as far as the pure content of it. It is absolutely just beautiful. What is your overall impressions of this product, you guys?
Anything that gives the DM more creatures to use and more versatility in their tool belt is always a win in my book, and this helps provide that.
Absolutely.
100% agree with Ian there. Like, there's so much in here that you can just use, and just many different, like, CR ratings in there as well.
Yeah.
So it's good for beginning of the game to all the way to the end of the game.
Right.
Like, there's a lot.
So if you want to follow along with us, you can head on over to critacademy.com and scroll down to the little post about Adaptable NPCs. You'll find the link there as well. So what is Adaptable NPCs? It's a supplement created for Dungeon Masters that introduce 70 unique non-player characters that can be used to populate your world. Now, the ultimate goal of this is to present a repertoire of quest givers and companions that can accompany the players on their adventures, being diverse enough to add to the immersion without introducing unnecessary complexity. That's a lot. And that's not even all of it.
No.
It also includes 8 short quest hooks and adventures with detailed maps, both for the DM and player versions, because you want to keep it separate with all the little details and secrets that the players can't know about, right? It's really just chock full of awesome. What I really liked about the NPCs, they mentioned using them at less about monsters against your players, but NPCs for hooks, quest givers, and a resource to throw into your game for your players to meet them that come with really fleshed out stat blocks in case they need it, which I think is cool.
Some of them can also be your allies too, which
Yes.
is also ridiculous.
Very much a stand-in for like a
Yes.
sidekick or something. Did I mention that each and every single piece has a unique custom piece of artwork?
I did not know that.
There is, to my understanding, it is not stock art.
That is
So that is really
pretty
really
good
cool.
then. Yeah.
Because that in there.
Some of it in there's really good.
Really fancy shit. So,
Yes.
for this, what I think is cool is each NPC has a brief kind of description of the character, the full stat block, and then the beautiful art. We've each picked a couple of ones that we thought were interesting, and we want to get a little bit of conversation out of. So going through these, starting with what I picked, since I'm the only one that wrote anything down in here. Oh, somebody's adding stuff. Way to go, Austin.
It's me.
I was gonna say I didn't add it.
Oh, you must be getting it from the group discussion.
Yeah.
So in this badass book, they have the NPCs are really cool because they have special flavor. And one of the ones that I really liked was the Sun Knight, which is
I did see that one. It was cool.
and it's actually the cover art piece, and that's pure coincidence. Because I was reading through it and I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. So what is a Sun Knight? A Sun Knight touched with the divine grace by their deity. Sun Knights are pillars that the righteous lean upon to combat the veil. They are bound by duty to end the existence of evil and corrupt creatures that lurk in the shadows. And then, it kind of gives you that overview. And then there's a bold text here titled Beacon of Hope. Sun Knights are able to channel the brightness of the sun through their holy symbols, illuminating the darkest corners of the world so they can purge the wicked from the realm. This searing light burns away the impurities that hide in the darkness, bringing the warmth of the sun's glow to the creatures that shy away from its brilliance. How awesome does that sound?
That actually completely contradicts and would be such a useful like thing to introduce with another different character in here, which is so crazy to
Which
me.
one?
The Nightblade, which is
Ooh,
basically
yes.
the direct counter to the
Opposite?
Sun Knights. It's so cool,
Yes.
actually.
It's very cool.
Well thought out. If I don't know if that was on purpose, but if it is, my hat goes out to you.
Right. So this is so I really like this one, not only because the story and lore is really cool. It's very much it seems at first it sounds very traditional of like a regular paladin or a cleric class. But what I think is cool is it doesn't have like smites or anything like that, but it does have access to a combination of skills that the cleric and the paladin both would have. And it's also immune to radiant damage, which I thought was an interesting touch. So
Very flavorful for a guy named the Sun Knight.
right. And you can add any race to this, and I thought it would just be awesome if it was like a tiefling. Like, it's just, actually we had a tiefling player in our group just recently that asked me if he could change his hellish rebuke into radiant, and I outright said no, but I think you came up with the idea, well, you can make it white flames, so good enough. So I think that this was a really kind of fits that theme, and they get access to spells. They are a CR10. The Sun Knight is a 9th level spellcaster, which means it is dangerous.
Yes.
It's very dangerous. And it comes with the traditional, the Sacred Flame and Spare the Dying and the Cure Wounds and the Bless and all that stuff. But what I thought was really cool is it has access to a bunch of the Paladin auras with the Aura of Life, Fatality, Crusader's Mantle.
Jeez.
It's really has, if you can think of any spell that's going to protect people, it has it, including like Shield of Faith and Sanctuary and all that stuff.
Okay.
Well, it also even has turn unholy, right? Like turning the undead and stuff, which is very much a paladin thing, right? Not a cleric thing,
Right,
if I'm not
absolutely.
mistaken.
Yeah.
Clerics can't do that, right?
Clerics don't typically turn, as far as
Right,
I'm
so-
aware.
No, clerics totally turn.
Do they?
Yeah.
Is it do both of them do it? Paladins and clerics?
Clerics definitely do
Oh,
it.
clerics do it because it's their channel divinity.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Never mind then. Sorry.
Clearly, I don't play enough clerics. But what's really cool is they have Radiant Blade, which does slashing and radiant damage. Essentially, it's like a permanent smite as far as I can see.
Yeah.
So I envision this character swinging their sword and it just glowing like a lightsaber and cutting down evil, which I think is really, really cool. And I like this because it's more of a traditional cleric kind of paladin build, and I really like that as an NPC hero. And it really, really was interesting to me. What did you guys think about this?
It could definitely be super fun to like introduce to your players and make them like, you can aspire to be this.
Yes, that is.
Like, this is a hero, and like people know and respect this guy.
Oh, that would be great for introducing it if a character wanted to multi-class too, or is just already a cleric or paladin that wants to pursue this, which I think is really great, because a lot of times we talk about the progression of characters, but we don't really get into the fact that that the players themselves need something to strive to be like. So introducing a character like this, and then this character saying, Austin, I have to go for a while, and I will need your holy inner light to protect the sanctum while I'm gone. Something like that just seems very cool to me.
I must journey to hell to fight evil. I'll be back.
Yes, Baldur's Gate is descending into darkness of Avernus. I must go. I need you to protect this area. Like, that sort of character talking directly to the player characters, and them like, I want to be like you when I grow up. It's like every muscle-bound person who does like the lifting and stuff wanting to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger and meeting him and him giving you an order. I need you to do this. I need you to do this for me.
It gives you the big meaty handshake.
Right. What do you
like,
think, Ian?
I like paladin characters, and this definitely fits the bill, so that gets it win in my book.
Fair enough.
Now, the other thing that I picked in... actually, do we want to alternate and then just come back to me?
Sure.
We can do that.
Ian, what did you pick there, buddy?
All right. For the one of the ones I picked was the false saint. Let me double check the page number here. How dare this thing be in alphabetical order?
That's why I wrote everything down.
Page 23. Yep.
I love this image, by the way.
Oh yeah.
This picture of this, it almost looks like a dog person. Like, I don't know. Got electrical glowing hands, I guess. I don't know what's going on with that. That's weird.
Anyway, a CR9 NPC, but false saints are determined to lead the desperate, easily manipulated, and weak-minded. They may be rambling lunatics, attracting those at the fringes of society, cunning, manipulative, seeking material gain in the name of a false deity. Or they may be genuinely manipulated by some higher power. I can't talk today. In any case, the false saint is a powerful spellcaster, able to corrupt the minds and deceive the unwilling. Yeah.
That sounds
hardcore.
awesome. Hardcore.
Oh, yeah.
Like, could you imagine, like, this guy who's just like, oh yeah, like, hey, like, you just see, like, the populace just, like, going to this person who looks, I mean, kind of like a good guy, right? I mean, that's kind of like the idea, right?
Right.
Like, the idea is that it's supposed to look like this kind of, like, helpful person, and then they're like, haha, nope.
Psych.
And then they just, like, mind bend, like, an entire populace against you or something, because they're like, oh, this guy's figuring me out. Like, I have to now, like, riot the whole town against these people and call them, like, I don't know, like, devil worshippers or something. I don't know.
Ooh, that's really cool. I like that. I love that it has magical resistance.
Yep.
That makes taking control of it yourself very difficult.
Yep, have advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. And they're a shape changer.
Oh, shit.
And they know common plus up to 4 other languages.
This got a lot harder to
Well,
deal
yeah,
with.
because now they're shape changers and they know a bunch of languages. They can disappear right in a crowd after doing their business.
And they have up to 6 level spells.
Oh, man, that's savage. I like this. This
Holy
is
cow.
very cool.
Globe of Invulnerability. Oh.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Is it just like...
It's pretty good, but it's also really restrictive at the same time, so that's why you don't see it too much.
Have to really use it. This comes with a lot of manipulation. I love that it's full of counterspell and dispel magic. And glyph of warding. Hell yeah. I love glyph of warding.
Polymorph, Dimension Door, Dominate Person, Gias.
Hold person, yeah.
Yeah, so this leads me to a potential awesome encounter idea. So what if this person was controlling the weak-minded to have them commit crimes or murder people? Can you imagine catching an assassin that's under the influence of the Gias spell? And so it's not really their fault?
What do you even do at that point? Like,
Well,
what
it
do you even do?
depends.
One, to the assassin. I mean, because what if they, like, suddenly they're not in will of that, so do you kill them?
That depends. I would say from a lawful standpoint, this person broke the law.
That's true. I mean, he is an
But-
assassin by trade, I suppose, right? So
Well, not necessarily. It could just be as easy as they took over a farmer and a farmer slapped a horse and wanted to drag the guy out way, clunking his head on the ground and some rocks or shit. I mean, it could be a young little girl who just was instructed to pour a poison into her daddy's drink. I mean, you could do so much with this false saint thing, I think. The fact that it focuses so much on spells and stuff and it's not super powerful on its own could be a lot of fun. CR9, that's dangerous.
It's respectable.
yes.
Because now once
put-
the players capture, say that I'm going to keep using the murderer thing, catch the murderer, now a new investigation has to go to unravel this.
Yeah, because then they figure out they were under the influence of some random spell that they're probably trying to figure out, because then they're like, well, what could possibly do this?
Right. And then it leads to a chain of all these other similar events have happened. Maybe you do like
It's a very Death Note thing all of a
yeah,
sudden.
well, somebody was talking about Death Note earlier, so but now
Well, One Shot did come out this past week. So.
Yeah, yeah.
is that the one with Donald Trump?
Bind
Yes.
Bind Death Note.
Yeah.
Not actually Donald Trump, but Donald Trump.
Well, it was a comic book, but
Yeah.
anyways, so you okay?
My ears, that's all. It's good.
If you remind me when I get out of here, I can get the other headset. It's in the house. I just forget because I use it in there more than out here.
That's okay.
So there's a lot that this can go on. I like, once again, the players have to constantly, systematically find these related murders or mysterious events, and they end up, jumping from town to town, tracking this person down.
I just looked at its skills. It's got a plus 13 in deception and a plus 9 in persuasion and plus 8 in perception. Holy cow.
Dude, what if it manipulated one of the players?
That's what I'm thinking. Like, there's no way they'll figure
This
this
is a
thing
good
out.
one. Good choice. This is a good topic.
There's no
Thank
way
you.
they're going to figure out who this false saint is.
Right,
There's
it would be a pain in the ass.
no
Are
common
you the
player
false
anyway.
saint? Well, I do not know what you're talking about, good sir. I have never been to such region. Nor do I know those people. Deception check. 28.
Yeah, it's like there's
Shit.
no way. They're never gonna catch this thing.
I mean, Zone of Truth definitely is a problem for me sometimes. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah. But he's got counterspell.
Yeah. Yeah, so even if you start to do something like cast
Could they?
Zone of Truth.
Isn't counterspell like vocal though? So wouldn't they be able to just figure that out? I guess.
I don't know. I don't know what the requirements are for counterspell. Do you want to look that up really quick? But I really like this one. So what?
Very good one.
What
Yeah.
have you? What have you? Do you have anything else on this, Ian?
I think what's needed to be said has been said.
All right. What is one? What did
Yep.
you? What?
Counterspell somatic, so just hand gestures.
Yeah. So just basically just giving him the finger.
He could also just be like, I don't know what you're talking about, and wave it off.
I will laugh if that actually is the hand gesture needed for a counterspell.
Somebody tries to cast Fireball. Fuck you.
It's just gone. The whole fireball goes.
Like, did you see the old Dragon Ball Z, when Nappa does this thing and the whole
Yes.
ground erupts? I just imagine that same thing.
And yet, if that's actually better than the actual origin of the finger, which is not what you would think.
Isn't that the one where they're gonna people cut it off for drawing the bows or something?
Yep. Yeah, the French during the Battle of Agincourt threatened that when they win, they would cut off the middle fingers of the English because, like you said, that was the primary finger for the English longbowmen. And their response was, "You mean this finger? Come get it!"
Come get it, asshole.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, right. All right. So what NPC did Austin bring to the table?
We'll start with the samurai, cause samurais are cool. So
Samurai.
You want to tell us about the samurai?
I can read the top part real quick. It's not very long. These noble warriors follow a code called Bushido, a code that guides their actions on a path of virtue. Samurai hold honor above all else, a pledge to protect their brethren and fight only when necessary. Also, can we just point out real quick, they actually have like stats for the katana in here, which is great.
It's a longsword.
Do they?
I mean, it's just a longsword, but still, it's there and it's cool.
Well, it's a D10, so it's not a long. Oh yeah, two-handed.
Yep,
yeah,
two-handed.
Okay, I'm an idiot.
But the reason why I chose this one was they actually use in the Xanathar's Guide to Everything, they actually use the samurai like skill set in there. And my favorite thing that they put on there was strength before death, which is literally right before they die, before they go unconscious, like, nope, I'm hitting somebody. And they just kind of do that whole like really cool samurai. He's got like 4 arrows in his chest. He's like, not yet, and he just kills the one guy that's in front of him.
Take another one out before he's gone.
Well, he also makes 4 attacks, I guess, so he's going to take out 4 people that are in front of him.
That's awesome.
Right?
So this would be a great character in a situation with a big giant battle that has been leading the characters into this kind of defensive mode, and then he charges in and ends up, sacrificing himself, and this is one of his last kind of...
Yeah, like, he's like, well, this was my final battle, and I knew that, but I was prepared.
And I'm bringing you assholes with me.
I also thought, like, because we're going back to the Descent into Avernus thing, it's like, what if, like, the players are, like, leaving hell and, like, they're being, like, hoarded by these, like, demons and stuff, and this guy's like, go, I will hold them off. And, like, he just saves the party. Like, this random guy out of nowhere. He's just...
The wandering samurai.
Yeah, he's like...
Oh, I love it!
I just happened to be in Baldur's Gate. And I saw you heroes just take on that weird fallen angel thing. But the least I can do is get you guys out of here.
Do you know what's cool?
It makes me...
I hate to make
exciting.
another My Hero Academia reference, but there's a scene where one of the heroes knows that he has a limited amount of time he can transform because of a serious wound. And the more he does it, if he strains him, he shortens his life and the amount of power, the length he can hold his form. And so there's a situation where he's sitting and watching a villain devour a person, and a kid with no powers runs in to save this guy.
Yeah.
And then he's like, how can I just stand by with a quirkless little child? Runs in, and you see him go from this little scrawny thing. He puffs up, squeezes the shit out of the pole he's holding on, and makes that kind of last minute effort to risk himself to do what he would otherwise do.
Yeah.
Because how can he stand by when somebody without powers is jumping in, right?
Jumping right in, yeah.
I do want to touch on the fact that this guy crits on an 18, 19, or 20 and gets 4 attacks.
Yes, his character is a little strong for a challenge rating 8, I think.
And they also, 3 times per day, can gain temporary
Temporary hit points.
Yeah.
Never mind. I was thinking the other samurai ability, which I thought they had, but didn't.
It also grants them bonus. So Fighting Spirit grants them bonus advantage on melee attacks.
Yeah.
Until the end of its turn. So advantage on 4 attacks. You're probably going to crit at least once on a 18, 19, or 20.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was they got the advantage on attacks. Oh, I saw the temporary health and I didn't see that.
Right, and another 15 temporary hit points. So that really lines up well with the strength before death feature. So I love this, and the artwork is so hot.
Yeah, very man. It reminds me of The Last Samurai from.
Really, the samurai reminds you of The Last Samurai?
Well, I mean, it's like it's a character that kind of like looks like him. Yeah, and it's just like
the artwork. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, the artwork is so nice. Just kudos to the artist, man.
Absolutely, man.
It really brings the stat block to life.
Really does, and just, like even though the stat block itself is kind of simple, aside from maybe the passive perception being a raw 16.
Yep. Looks like there's 4 artists in here, so yeah.
Yeah.
You guys all did fantastic.
Yeah.
So
just really cool stuff.
So the last thing I want to touch on this before we move on is
Sure.
the fact that it has no ranged attack.
Probably doesn't need it if it's going to run at you, and right before it dies, it probably will still kill you.
Its movement's still 30, though, man.
I guess that's true.
I don't know if that's an oversight or a balance.
It is only challenge rating 8, admittedly. But
Only
I say
goblins
only.
have melee and range, too. So
I guess that's fair.
I don't know. I would like to know what the design was for that.
I mean, on an open field, sure, but inside a dungeon.
Well, not every battle takes place in a dungeon. In fact, more likely it's not going to be in a
opened
dungeon.
up my first statement.
Yeah, so I don't know.
It's also kind of weird, too, because in history, samurai were actually more known for their longbows than actually fighting with the katana. So, very interesting.
Is that true, or is he making that up?
Actually, that is true.
Yeah, it is true. And, yeah, they were more...
I didn't even know they knew what a bow and arrow was.
And actually, they were famous horse archers.
Yes, very famous horse archers. So, very interesting why... I mean, I get
And
that...
The more you know.
And I feel like they're also more likely to use pole arms and katanas, too.
Yeah, katanas were really just kind of more of a...
Backup,
for
yeah.
show. So.
Well, it's where they...
They had 2 swords, right?
housed
They had
their
was it
spirit or something like that,
the
right?
Nodachi, or what is the small blade they had?
The small blade was so that they could commit seppuku. that
was
a
it?
ceremonial blade.
No, it was
pretty
also what's meant to be used for indoors, because you turn in your bigger sword when you walk into a house.
much. I guess that's
Well,
fair, too.
and in a hallway when you tried to draw your blade, you turn
Hence
sideways, idiot.
Hence the indoor comment.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That was. I remember. You ever watched the old Three Ninjas movie? They're fighting the guys on the boat, the ninjas on the boat, and they draw it and they hit it. And I'm like 10 years old saying, "Turn sideways, you moron!" And they go, "Yeah," kick them in the dick, and then they fall down.
Holy crap.
Oh my god, I remember that shit was funny.
All right.
That's really.
I guess on to the next one, though.
Okay,
'Cause that one was
so
a fun one.
so we talked about some pretty powerful characters so far. So there's something I really wanted to give credit to, because this is something that I thought was just fantastic. The Squire. And it goes really good with the Sun Knight that I talked about, because that's very much a paladin knight kind of feel, right? Sun Knight. The Squire. Squires are shield bearers for the commanding knight. Although a demanding position, they serve and train to one day become a knight themselves. They carry out tasks for their liege, such as saddling their horse, carrying armaments, and holding their flag in battle. These diligent students spend all their time training, and they've learned how to, ride horses, hunt, engage in single hand-to-hand combat, and have had and instilled a respect of the keep's hierarchy. So squires are sworn in at a young age and begin accompanying their liege on his or her duties. While duty. I almost made it without
Only
laughing.
you.
Yeah, right. While receiving further training in the code of chivalry, mounted combat, and the history of the royalty and nobles. So, first of all, this really is exciting to me, because I would love to give this to my players. Like, can you imagine your group coming up with having your adventurer name and you having a squire that just carries a banner with your name on it? It reminds me like the old pirate flags that used to flag. Everyone would see you guys coming,
Mm-hmm.
And that really was just really cool.
After looking through like the stat block, like yeah, it's very much so just kind of that deal. Like it's just meant to like, hey, I am here to help.
Yeah, and what's cool though, and it's only a CR 1/4, so it's not powerful. He does got 19 hit points. That's a lot for a commoner, right? How many hit points does a commoner usually have? Like 4?
If that.
So that he's already definitely a little stronger than a commoner, but not much, which I think is really neat. So let's talk about some of the features. They have unwavering resolve. The squire cannot be frightened if they can see or hear their commander and are within 60 feet. So that definitely gets rid of one of the things that I would love to do with the squire and just have him run away. Daring battle.
And like now you can't even do that because
Right.
the squire's like, no, my superiors are here and I will show them why they chose me. It's like, haha.
So the real question
Heroism.
is there any benefit to having them on the field besides cleaning your armor and making you dinner and all that stuff? They have a feature called Brandish Banner. The squire raises his commander's banner in the air. Allies that can see the squire and are within 30 feet of it are granted advantage on wisdom saving throws and may add a 1d4 to their attack rolls until the start of their squire's next turn. They can
Very
also
good.
use a longsword, but
I mean, yeah, but
granting advantage on wisdom saves and an increased chance to hit, this is very much a bless
yes.
in the a killable form.
But it can also murder.
Right. It reminds me very much of our war chanter, which you can find at critacademy.com, which was basically a bard that used a staff, or not a staff, a halberd that had a little banner hanging from it. And, you know, they do some other stuff. Check that out. It's really nice. Bestseller. I really like this. I thought it was cool, and it's something that could be easily grouped. I would love to toss this in as an extra character for my group. What do you think, Ian?
I mean, they're basically bazookas. Fire once, they're done.
Okay. Except I don't think bazookas buff everyone.
But I mean, like limited use,
I mean,
low cost.
they buff all your allies when the enemy's not there.
Yep.
But even like giving it to a player, even like giving it to like the enemy, like maybe the enemy has a little squire that's on their team.
That's a good idea.
Like they look very harmless, but they have their banner, and they're like, well, now I either have to decide: do I want to like beat down the poor guy who's got the banner, who's buffing his entire team a little bit, or do I just go after the guy and not worry about the squire because I don't want to waste my turns hitting the squire?
Well,
Actually,
yeah.
I actually think the Purple Dragon Knight from Sword Coast has a similar feature too,
Oh,
Maybe it
I
does.
wonder if that's
Oh,
where they
yeah.
got it from.
They might have.
which is a fighter.
Yeah,
archetype.
yeah.
Fighter archetype, yeah. I
remember
think
that
that's
now.
good because then you can have a moral dilemma. What if the person carrying the flag is just a slave and not a squire, but you use the squire stat rock, give him 1 hit point.
Oof.
You gotta now put the player characters in a moral dilemma whether it's okay to kill this thing or this person, not a thing, person. NPCs are people too. Anyways, it definitely is something to think about, and I love the inclusion of something like this in this product.
The 19 hit points definitely does throw it off, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know, right? I didn't realize it had that much. But it's training
it's
to
cool.
become a knight, so hey.
Yeah, it's probably gone through some form of training. And it actually does
It
say
does
that.
say
I guess.
that, yeah, like right in the second paragraph area.
Huh.
Once again, that art just blows me away. I love the abstract nature of it.
I do too. It's just very pretty to look at.
Something like you would find in, like a art museum or
Yeah,
something.
it's like a painting.
Yeah.
The painting style is really nice.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
So, all right, Ian, what is the next one you chose? How are we doing on time here?
I think I know which one that one was. Right?
Okay. All right, I'm actually am changing one of my entries because of some overlap between something that's already been stated, but the Woodland Ranger.
The Woodland Ranger.
The Woodland Ranger.
Want to tell us about it?
These rangers have lived their entire lives in the wild, foraging for food and tracking their prey, be it beast or being. As a result, they are expert trackers and masters of survival. Woodland rangers are extremely patient, able to lie in wait for long periods of time while remaining undetected by their prey, waiting for the perfect moment to bring them to the ground. Or put them in the ground, I should say.
I like that.
Okay.
That's very cool. So this is a ranger.
It's a ranger.
It's a ranger build. I see that it's running the multi-shots and the magical weapons. That's pretty cool. Oh, it's got point-blank marksman too.
And it has Hunter's Mark as an at will.
At will. Oh, that's cool.
Okay.
Something.
And let's be real here, every ranger should have it as an at will anyway, in my opinion.
You think so?
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of the point of the ranger, right? Is to kind of have it.
Well, it's a first level spell, so the higher you get.
I mean, yeah, I guess
You can use it on
I
other
guess.
slots.
And
but
I'll admit, past editions basically had similar abilities as a default. You always have this.
I think 4th edition for sure did, because I
Definitely.
remember marking my quarry every round and hitting it with Twin Strike. So,
And it has a magical weapon. Oh.
yeah, I am surprised though. It gives it spell casting, but really only has the 2 spells, the Hunter's Mark and the magic weapon. I don't see any others on the list.
Yeah, I don't know why that's there.
I like the multi-shot because it's basically a volley of arrows. Oh, it says it's volley of magical arrows.
Ooh.
So I wonder if that's supposed to be part of the spell aspect of it.
Yep. Hunter's Mark at will. The longbow does the longbow, and not only does it do 1d8 damage, it also does an additional 2d6 force damage.
Right.
And it has the multi-shot, which is recharge 6, which they basically fire a volley of magical arrows on point within 60 feet. And they can make a longbow attack against each creature within a 15-foot radius circle of that point.
That very much reminds me of Legolas, where he's just like boom, 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 just unleashing all these targets and barely even drawing his bow. I like that you could probably give this some really good flavor too. I would love to like shoot an arrow up and then watch it describe it exploding and raining down shrapnel on him.
And this is a CR4 creature.
Yeah, it's very cool. Once again, I've noticed this one is missing something too.
A melee weapon?
A melee weapon. So really, they are designed to have really one job.
Kind of purpose.
Yeah. So that's definitely now I realize is probably a design decision.
Yeah, but on the flip side, though, they don't get disadvantage in melee, so...
Yeah, I guess they don't really have a purpose for having a melee weapon.
don't.
Yeah, I actually just recently, I don't know where I did it. I swear we're working on a project called Memorable Monsters, and one of the ones that I wrote, she has a bow, but it's got blades on both ends of it, like a butterfly staff thing. And in the description, she uses the same weapon for melee and ranged.
Pretty cool. Actually.
Yeah, the image is beautiful. The artwork's awesome. Anyways, I digress. But anyways, so I think this is pretty cool. It's pretty spot on. Something easy to introduce to your table. I love the idea of him being like a scout hired to like track the players and just monitor their what they're doing, because we know player characters always get into trouble. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. 100%.
I really like that. That one's a good one, Ian. Thank you for sharing. What do we have over here, Austin? What was your last one you picked?
The Proprietor.
I wanted to go with the Proprietor, but I keep going back to the Nightblade.
This is why I can't have show notes. Not only did they not pick them, but then they're changing them later
I
on.
picked him!
Well, okay, he did. Like, way after I asked about it. What do you
Oh,
got?
yeah.
What do you got?
We'll do the Nightblade.
Well, I did it
Nightblade?
before the show.
You
Yeah.
did. That counts. Oh, shit. Page 39.
Yep. It says, some assassins are born, while others are made. The Nightblade is constructed through the binding of a dark spirit to a humanoid construct of stone, with threads of shadow magic keeping it all together. While the constructor of a Nightblade often does so for personal gain, some may offer its services to the highest bidder, which I thought was the cool part of this. Players could hire this stupid thing.
Dude, what if it's hired to attack them and they just turn around and offer it more money to attack the person that hired them?
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be fantastic, but what player is going to think to do that? I love that it's a construct of stone.
Yes,
That is so cool.
Very cool. And the artwork, again, cannot get enough of it. But
Looks like a evil Power Ranger enemy.
kind of does.
It's Morphin time, bastards.
Shadow Stalker. Nightblades vent raw shadow magic into any amount of darkness surrounding them, deepening it and effectively allowing them to disappear at will, provided they remain out of direct sunlight, which I thought was hilarious about the whole sunlight thing.
Right. Because
While
the Sun Knight. I see that. That's cool.
See? While cloaked in shadow, the Nightblade deals massive damage to unsuspecting foes, often dispatching a target with a single strike before fading from sight once more. And looking at these things...
Can we just talk about for a minute the crazy amount of immunities?
Yes.
Damage immunities. Necrotic, poison, psychic, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical weapons that aren't adamantine.
It is.
Condition immunities. Charmed, exhausted, frightened, paralyzed, petrified, poison.
I mean, it is a construct.
I know,
so
but combining that with an assassin,
Yes, it is a very...
it's going to succeed.
It's a terrifying foe. And I think that's kind of the point of it, right? It's supposed
right.
to be terrifying.
Yes.
It also has 120 feet of dark vision. This thing will spot you from a mile away, ridiculously. And it understands thieves' cant and one of the languages of its creator, but can't speak, which is also interesting.
That's interesting.
Uh,
I didn't realize it could not speak. It literally is a walking machine. Huh.
it's it's a machine that gets things done too. Because when you look at its sneak attack, whatever is there, it's gonna get fucked.
Right.
Well-
What's its sneak attack bonus?
All right, well, first off, its Shadow Sword does 5d6 necrotic damage, and when you throw in the sneak attack, which is once per turn, that's another 9d6.
Oh, Jesus.
It will get rid of whatever it's there. But this is why the sunlight sensitivity is a huge thing. Because while in sunlight, the Nightblade has disadvantage on attack rolls as well as on perception checks that rely on sight.
Yeah.
Very please be in the daytime and hide yourself at night because this thing
Right.
will find you.
Hide your kids, hide your women. Or what was that?
Hide your
Hide
wife.
your kids, hide your wife, hide your kids, hide your wife.
Let's talk about the one with the knight.
This I think was really cool.
The Nightblade can take the hide action as a bonus action. Additionally, it has advantage on stealth checks and wisdom perception checks that are made to hide in dim light and darkness. It's really hard to find this bastard.
It's just this really devastating hyper assassin
Right.
that you just want to be like, I'll just pay you more money, please. Just don't point that thing at me. Still only 30 feet. So it's pretty much like an ambusher.
Right.
So
I like the fact that it's a melee attack. The shadow, it's got multi-attack, makes 2 attacks, CR10. Shadow Sword does necrotic damage. No slashing, no nothing. It is just necrotic damage. That's definitely an interesting choice. Usually there's kind of a combination there, and it's just one. So I'm wondering if like the blades would be like made out of some sort of energy,
well, I
like
guess
the magical. Isn't there a shadow blade? That's a spell, right?
Yeah.
Maybe something like that. Steven on Facebook says, I'm imagining a battle with pure light and absolute darkness, pushing back and forth over the terrain, swirling against each other, all while the players battle away. Oh, that is cool.
right. Like it's
like
just like,
that.
oh man. Could you imagine if there was more than one of these stupid things?
Right. Or this in a Sun Knight where it, you ever watch the Dragon Ball Z when they're powering up and you see the lights kind of just going in all directions? Something like that where you occasionally get a spot of something as the light like is there for an instant and is gone again. And it's kind of like a strobe light effect where you see one position and then when the light disappears, it comes back. They're somewhere else and they're jumping around the field. That does sound awesome, Steven. Very cool. Overall, what are your guys' impressions of this book?
It has a 17 AC. I just saw that.
Yeah, it's a freaking juggernaut.
Oh my goodness.
I'm the juggernaut, you bitch. But he has to say it in Thieves' Cant. So it's just like Thieves' Cant on his chest or something.
How does it like? Yeah, I guess how would it relay messages? Is it just write in shadows or
Well,
something?
yeah,
I guess
that
I
would
don't
be
know.
some fun role play to figure out.
Again, but just another thing you could add.
He's got a little picture book that he just flips open and draws on. He's like the super intimidating thing if somebody asks him a question.
I don't
I
know how to
can't
speak
read
Dwarvish.
Yeah, I can't read Dwarvish. Oh, scribble it out, fix it. That would be so much fun.
Oh man. But definitely a very awesome book.
Old Handy says that sounds a lot like the battle with the Black Ninja on Samurai Jack.
Oh, that was a good episode.
Samurai Jack, that was a great episode, dude. Some good shit. I love it.
That last season they gave us too was also just
Oh,
fantastic.
yeah, for sure.
Man.
All right. Overall, there's 70 of these bad boys. I do notice we kind of hung around the CR10 area. There's a lot of different range characters and flavor. I love the pikeman. Look at that.
I saw
It
that
looks like
coat
he's
and
got a
it's just like-
fucking drill
He's got a drill spear.
on the end of his spear.
Hell yeah. He's only a challenge rating too as well. Like this big badass just comes up and he's like, you know,
Not so badass.
but you know, I'm here. I do things.
Very cool. I like this product. I definitely recommend it. If you get a chance, thank you for filling those in, by the way.
You're welcome.
Sorry that I changed.
No, it's okay. I can copy it and move it now. Anything else we want to touch on this?
An honorable mention, definitely the Harbinger. It's just like this true neutral. It just wants to bring balance to everything by annihilating it.
That's one way to do it. That's very much Sith.
Yeah,
Right?
very kind of. Yeah.
I will bring balance to the Force by killing all those who are using it.
And my other picks I didn't go
Except for
with
myself.
too just was the Fell Warrior, the Harbinger, and the Vanguard.
Yeah.
Yep. Those are all really good
All
choices.
very good ones.
So, like I said, there's 70 of these things, so definitely check it out. You're getting a lot of good stuff with it. So
Yeah.
you can head on over to critacademy.com,
For sure.
use the link there, and we'll get a small kickback if you do decide to buy it with our affiliate link. So thank you. That'll do it for our main topic, adaptable NPCs. Now, before we move on to our unearthed tips and tricks, I realized that I didn't take this out of the show notes, so I'm just going to delete that. Boop, there it is. We have another gift to give away, compliments of Jeff Stevens. Now, as I said before, we had a poll out, a survey, and I think like 50 people responded, so thank you guys very much. So we pulled a name out of that for this Villains and Layers 2 product. So revolutionize your game with this collection of 28... What the hell just happened?
I don't know.
Oh, I think he added a line and it pushed it down.
Yeah.
Revolutionize your game with this collection of 28 villainous NPCs from Small Fry to World Ender, 8 of which include full detailed maps of their lairs. Sinister side quests, terrifying overlords, bounties, one-shots, and more lie await for you inside Villains and Layers 2.
Dun dun dun.
Ian, who is our winner today?
Hammonds.Josh.
Thank you so much for leaving your comments on the survey. We appreciate it very much. If you didn't win, have no fear. Crit Academy is here. Head on over to critacademy.com/Jeff Stevens and get Villains in Layers 3 free. That's all you got to do. Go there.
Yeah.
Check it out. Pick it up. If you like it, leave a review. Definitely check it. Love that shit. Now, moving on to our unearthed tips and tricks as soon as I find the fucking button.
And now, what you've all been waiting for. Our Unearthed Tips and Tricks segment, where we bring you new and reusable material for both players and DMs.
Austin, would you like to tell us about our character concept?
Sure. It is a familiar friend from our patron, Charles Kuntz. Thank you. My wizard player's familiar that we are role-playing is his grandfather's spirit brought back in owl form. Doesn't grant any major benefits or anything, just a lot of flavor for the creature and fun role-play moments. Was thinking of having a person capture his familiar via a magic globe and make it so he can't summon him back until rescued. I planned on letting him still summon a familiar, but it will be a random spirit until he gets it back from the soul gem.
I like this.
It sounded very Pokemon-esque for just a brief moment.
Yeah, you gotta catch them all.
As a Chelsu.
Oh my god, what if there's a hunter whose sole goal is to catch all the familiars in the world?
That's a lot of familiars, man. Then again, I guess Ash Ketchum is trying to catch
I was gonna
like
say it
900
could be
Pokemon.
Bash caught him.
Bash caught him.
I think this is really cool. I love the idea of tying a wizard's familiar to something in his backstory or to something else other than just this random spirit that he summoned. Because think about how that interaction is going to go now if it's his grandfather's spirit and then I end up shooting it with an arrow.
Yeah.
Not probably great. I can see the player having conversations with it and talking about the good old times and something like that. I think it adds a lot of role play. The fact that you're allowing him to do that. I'd be interested to know if Charles is actually adding personality to it to really make it stand out. Is there lore behind the father? Like maybe he was a big smoker, so the damn thing sits on the tops of chimneys all the time or some shit like that. One little spark says he's died 3 times.
That's awesome.
So I think this is a great idea. Would you do something like this if you ran a wizard with Find Familiar?
Yeah, it's definitely one option you can go with. So.
Yeah.
I mean,
slide over a little
I
bit,
certainly
get more
would
on the camera?
too.
I didn't realize you weren't in. My bad.
It would just
Yeah,
be.
keep moving over, but
You can get closer. There's plenty of room.
well,
I don't
the
bite
stand-
hard.
Well, the stand was in the way.
I got
so
this. I can move it. I can
I
take
just
care
like
of
the
you.
fact that it's a familiar, and now you're actually familiar with the familiar.
Oh,
Go figure.
I see what you did there.
Go figure. Now you actually know this thing.
I also like the capturing of it in a magical globe because now it's not just a random summon that I'll summon another one. It's important driving a urge or a reason for that player to now chase it down. So
You could also probably, instead of just again, if you wanted to be a little bit different, you can, instead of just using magical globe, you could actually probably just use the trinket list and just roll on the D100 list and just roll something, and then you use that and you just like chant something, maybe your ancestor's name, and then boom, it's there.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a wolf, but it's there.
What if when you're doing the find familiar ritual, you include like a trinket that your grandfather had?
There you
something
go.
that was
Yeah.
his, like a pipe or something. And then you blow in the pipe and smoke billows out and takes the form of an owl and hoot appears.
There you go.
I love it.
See, definitely a cool concept.
Yes. Very cool. Thank you so much, Patron Charles, for not only being a patron, but also submitting this, a familiar friend. Our monster variant of the podcast is the Spire Top Drake. So for the origin of this, you're going to use the Pteranodon from the Monster Manual. A drake is a carnivorous reptile that has a fanged mouth, clawed digits, and serpentine tail. Some drakes move on two legs, keeping their forelimbs off the ground, while others walk on all fours, and even a few, such as the spire drake, have wings. Spire drakes nest on top of buildings, gathering in clutches and menace the denizens of large cities. They like to steal valuable objects and only attack larger prey when they are famished or when their nests are disturbed. So this is a really interesting idea. These characters are really small, so you're going to make them tiny, not Pteranodon huge, but you're going to make them tiny creatures. Not much bigger than like a house cat, right? With wings. I love the idea that these are something that are in cities. They're not something you will probably encounter in the wild, but you will, walking down the street, what the hell was that? You know, constantly being I love the idea of just a whole village being terrorized by these things. They all sit up on top of the clock tower. Nobody can get up there and take care of them. So how do we get this bad boy? We're going to give him some new features. We're going to give him a +4 to stealth and a +4 to sleight of hand. It's going to have cunning action, which means it can dash, disengage, and hide as a bonus action. And it's going to have a special melee attack called Snatch. So on a hit, the Spire Top Drake steals a small object that is being carried or worn by the target, such as a vial, a scroll, coin purse, or satchel. The Drake cannot carry more than 15 pounds. Now, so there is a limit. But I love the idea that you can be stealing quest information or valuable rubies and spell scrolls right out from underneath their little belts.
Or maybe they have like some, just a bunch of like miscellaneous treasure that they were probably going to sell, and now they can't because they
Right.
don't own it anymore.
Or
Right.
the weapon doesn't the adventurer's hand.
Ooh, yes. A shiny new one with like a dragon hilt with a ruby in the mouth.
And just like, or oh yeah, guys, I totally came back with this giant slayer weapon. Wait,
Where'd it go?
hey, no.
Yeah, how much does a sword weigh? 10 pounds, right?
No.
No, not even close.
No.
Really?
They're very.
Oh, they're gone. Dude, what if you sent a whole clutch of these after your team? They just lose a bunch of shit all at once, like locusts. They swoop in, they're swatted at it, they get a couple, but the rest of them fly away with half their gear. Oh my god, they would hate me.
Could you say if there's like 3 of them attacking the same player, they all run off with like their plate armor that they were just wearing?
And they're all holding onto it in the clutches as they fly away. Oh my god.
Or maybe they just take the whole player.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Well, I guess 15 pound
15
limit,
pounds,
maybe
so
you
if
need,
there's
like,
3 of them, you need
5
like
of them.
5, 10 of those things.
Just like, it's like, oh, that's Jerry. Bye, Jerry.
Little halflings are in trouble.
Halflings are always in trouble.
Hey, look, I can fly. Wait, no. Oh, what is that?
Wait,
No,
he
let me
can't.
down.
And for the record, a Scottish Claymore weighs 5.5 pounds, so...
Very
well,
light.
There it is. So well
And
within
that's
their
supposed
weight.
to be the big heavy weapon.
Right. So I think this is really cool. It's something different. I wanted to try go with something.
Something not just outright murder, stab, stab.
Right. Their goal isn't to the creature's goal isn't to harm. It's to swoop in, take what it wants, and basically they're little tiny dragon hordes. That's what they're doing. They're making their own little tiny dragon horde. Oh my god! Could you imagine that, chasing these down and fighting and finding their massive wealth of treasure, and it's like the size of a box of. And it's their little dragon cave. That's hilarious and
Aw.
adorable.
That's cute. Makes me not want to kill it.
Right?
But also, I want my stuff back.
That'll do it for our monster variant, the Spire Top Drake.
That
Ian,
was pretty cool.
would you like to tell us about the encounter?
Oh, was that one meme where they're talking about this like a baby dragon that's trying to start a treasure hoard, but it's just one coin, and this one coin's being traded around in the market, and this dragon always follows the coin.
I don't know that meme, but
That sounds familiar, but I don't think I've seen that. But I know what you're talking about. That would be adorable.
And the people in the local know about the small dragon. So when the odd town comes there, what's the dragon from? He comes with it. Don't worry about it.
He comes with the coin. I love
you
it.
can make that a fantastic little like quest hook.
Oh yeah.
So like, what do the players do? Do they keep the coin for themselves, or do they give it back to the little dragon and just let it have its little merry day?
That would be cool.
There's no realistic reward, but you feel good about it.
I know, right? I want a baby Drake now.
Anyway, the encounter of the podcast is Under Siege.
And just so you know, there is not women jumping out of cake in this one. Nobody?
Yep.
Under Siege 2?
No.
Okay,
No.
come on.
Sorry.
Under Siege 1, actually.
Encounter of the podcast, Under Siege. The characters must clear out a small village keep that has been invaded and is now being occupied by a band of thugs, veterans, and a myriad of lower minions. They are led by a Volfanon, a half-black dragon veteran. Wow. Okay. I can't talk today.
You don't like his name?
I can't pronounce it.
Yeah, me neither. It was a random generator name.
Volfanon, a half-black dragon veteran.
Oh, there you go. You got
There
it.
you go.
They have been growing over the last year since Volfanon took over leadership in a duel. He has been growing his following. A month ago, he couldn't be expected to hide in a disgusting cave forever.
You skipped a line.
No, I didn't.
A month ago, he decided to move out.
Oh. A month ago, he decided to move out of the previous lair and into something more respectable. After all, he couldn't just be expected to hide in a disgusting cave forever.
It's true.
After his minions scouted out a small yet easily defensible village with a keep, he assaulted it and took it over. He is generous and didn't kill all of the residents,
I like how you...
just those that resisted his rule. He has allowed the rest to continue living in the village, tending to farms and trade. Once the characters clear out the keep in the village, they must survive a month until forces from a large city can arrive and set up an outpost to replenish the ranks of the village militia. During this time, a continuous onslaught of Volfanon's crew, as well as any others interested in making a name for themselves or claiming the village as their own.
What do you guys think?
This is actually
Oh, from Building Farm found that meme I was talking about.
Oh, cool. We'll post it later.
Yep.
I like this a lot for one really particular detail that was thrown in there that I really enjoy, and that is the time frame. You have to wait and you have to
Yes.
survive until help actually comes, because otherwise it's like, just kill the big bad guy, go on with your day.
We're done.
No, this isn't that. This is something much more sustained. This is something that's like, oh, well, if this didn't work, he's just going to send in a bigger force, or maybe he'll adapt the force to the players. Like maybe he's
Yes.
scouting them or something. Maybe you have
And
to.
the strategies change based on the
could
group.
this could be really fun. Only be like, cause like we don't know Volfanon, but we know he's a half black dragon veteran. Cool.
Yeah,
Like that
strong.
probably means he knows what he's doing. Therefore, he probably knows what you're trying to be doing, because he's probably sent a few spies that you probably have to wake up in the middle of the night to find. There's just so much like interesting preparation, or maybe like the players are preparing for something and like they put up their own sort of defenses, but
Yes.
he scouted it and now
That's-
he knows how to get around it.
That's what I think is great, because this is a weight. This is basically a stronghold, a tower defense, right? It's a tower defense adventure idea, right? Where now the players, when they go in, they might not think, oh, we need to build defenses, but then in a few days they start getting overrun by people who, oh, there's an empty village, we can take out the few adventurers and fill it. Or, you know, the Volfanon's group is still piling in from wherever they were, you know, out working before, and some of the people that were out were doing bigger jobs and they're stronger, and now they're starting to scout the area. They're watching the players. They've seen them fight. They come and they start bringing ways to counter the players. So the longer the battle drags on, the harder it becomes, I think. At
Very
least I think
much
that would
so.
be very cool.
It's like this is a month. It is stated in there they must survive a month until forces come. I mean, of course, it's up to DM's discretion. You can always say, well, they only gotta last a week, or maybe they gotta last a year. Could you imagine if Wolfenon was just, because, he's been growing, getting this huge following, like maybe he's got this massive army.
Maybe he's continually growing it, trying to take back what you took from him. Oh, man, I love this. What do you think, Ian?
There's definitely a lot of roleplay opportunities to go along with this, and I appreciate a good siege because it offers a lot of variety that you can pull from.
Yeah, I love it if they have like defense siege weapons and stuff. So as the players start using these, they stop working, and then you got to do skill checks to repair them. And the only way you can kick back this entire horde is because your siege weapon and shit that snapped. We don't have any extras. What can we do? Somebody has to go out and get a replacement. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think it's awesome. Or the Wolfenon's crew could wait you out while you run out of food.
Oh, like he just kills all the traders
as they're coming. Yeah. Like you can't go outside the walls to grow anything or to farm the fields because they're out there waiting and will kill anybody that steps out. Man, oh, I'm loving this. The more we talk about it,
yeah, the big thing in there, the big detail is they got to survive a month, and that is the part where it turns it from just a simple kill the big bad guy and be on with the day to now the players have to be serious and they have to think about all their moves because everything could lead into a different consequence. Like, what if they didn't hold off the defense? They survived. They held off enough, but they didn't stop a lot of the damage.
Right.
So, like, now, like, maybe, like, one of the, like, there's a giant hole in the wall or something. Like, they actually got through. And now you have to, like, not only make repairs to the wall, which probably won't be fast enough, because if we think of Wolfenon as he is, he's this big, powerful dude who has a bunch of, like, influence and resources. Like, now they can get in easily, and now you're having, like, already at this disadvantage because you failed one night.
What if the villagers start starving?
What if they just start cannibalizing each other?
Oh, God. That's horrible.
I just thought of your half-orc you were playing, and you just started cannibalizing people. I was like, what if they start doing that? Oh, no.
I love this encounter. This is fantastic.
Very interesting.
I definitely love the Under Siege encounter. We hope you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Austin, would you like to tell us about our magic item?
I love magic items.
Me too.
You just don't hand them out very often, which is fair. Actually, lately, you've been kind of...
I've been pretty generous lately.
Here you go, Sir Shanks a lot.
Sir Shanks a lot?
I do...
What's your name? Long Shanks. Why? Have you seen my sword?
Oh, man. But right now, the magic item is the Exodus knife. It's a rare dagger, because it's a knife.
Steven says, now I'm trying to figure out how to work Siege into my game.
Right? Like, it sounds so fun. I hope we do that in Avernus.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
That'd be fun. You have, with this Exodus knife, you get a +1 bonus to attack and damage, because, it's a magic weapon. Why not? You can use an action to speak its command word. For the next minute, you can trace an opening into a solid object no larger than a single doorway. It opens a portal into an extra-dimensional space that lasts for 10 minutes. The space can hold as many as 6 medium or smaller creatures. Wow, that's a lot. The extra-dimensional space can be entered by opening the door like an opening. The caster, or creatures on the inside space, can open or close the opening as a bonus action. Okay, so they're not trapped in there. Once closed, the door becomes invisible to anyone outside the extra-dimensional space. Creatures on the inside of the closed door can see out, but those outside can't get in. Anything inside the extra-dimensional space drops out when the effect ends. This effect cannot be used again until the next dawn. I like this a lot already. 1, I love extra-dimensional stuff. Super fun. 2, I could be a rogue, and I'm like, well, I can't hide anywhere.
That's exactly what I think it's supposed to be done for.
I'm gonna be hiding like this, and like, they can't find me if the hole's not open.
There's other things, though. There's some spells that only require you to see, not necessarily have line of sight. So you could, in theory, cast some spells from one side of the dimension door to the other, I think.
Could you imagine?
Can you clarify that? Some spells only require where you see, not necessarily line of sight.
How the heck do I clarify that on the spot? The spell basis.
You know a lot. I was just asking. If you don't know, it's okay to say, Justin, you know what? I know you rely on me for rulings, but I just don't know that answer to that weird ass question you just asked.
Yes, that.
Okay.
Also, you could probably like, as like, you know, an assassin or something, like you can see them walk by. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
You can see them through this like little dimensional hole that they can't see. And you can just sit there and just be like waiting, and you could just like grab them by the neck and drag them
Pull
into
them
it
in.
and
Oh!
stab them.
Shit.
And you can leave the body in there. Well,
Well, it's still a door, so you have to open up and pull them in and then close it. It's like those scenes in those movies where the guy they turn around to say something, the guy's gone. Oh my gosh. Picking them off one by one.
Could you imagine two guards walking down, like, "Hey, how's it going, Jeremy? Oh, you know, I'm doing pretty good." And he's looking around, he's like, "Oh, hold on, I gotta tie my shoe." And you're like, "Perfect." And just, and the guy looks at you like, "Oh, hi, Jeff. Jeff?
Where'd you go?
I didn't hear you walk away from me. How'd that happen?" Man, I wasn't tying my shoe for that long.
I didn't really think about this as more of a get more assassins. I was thinking of using it as mostly as a tool to like stealth in and sneak around, and if you're about to get caught, make a doorway. But hey, you know what? Hiding to assassinate people works too. What would be really cool is if you used it as a way to break into somewhere and make them think you escaped. Like, right, you break into a heavily fortified area, you grab this rare crown, you cut a door into the floor and drop in and close the door. And
then,
just wait for everyone to leave because they already thought it was stolen.
So they all just start
They
filtering
leave,
out,
yes.
and you're just like, the best escape is the one where you're not actually escaping, and
Yes.
then everyone else leaves because they thought you did, and it's like, haha, now I can just
Walk right out the door.
it's like, oh, I'll actually be kind enough to actually close the door behind me this time, and I'll leave.
What do you think, Ian?
Raven would love this dagger.
Yeah, it's a pretty good built-in oh crap button.
Right. That's a good way to put it. I love it.
Again, and it's because it's such an insane ability. For a rare weapon, even it is only able to be used once per dawn. So that is I think, a very good balancing mechanic on it, because that is kind of insane what you can do with it.
Really far. Use it under a pile of gold.
Make the whole thing just, it's gone. Because really, that's a great example because you really can't logistically walk in, steal a hoard of gold, and then leave. You can't do that. But if you can make everyone think you did, which is exactly what happened in Ocean's 11.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
They made everyone think that it was gone. And in fact, it wasn't, right?
Wasn't, yeah.
Or it already had, I forget. They did that. They made them think that.
The concept is that.
Yeah, something like that. Anyways, I love that shit. I love this item. Hopefully you do too.
Super fun. I would love to assassinate people with my dimension door.
Our that'll do it for our magic item. Our dungeon master tip, it comes from Midgard Heroes Handbook. I love this idea and I am going to be incorporating it into my games. Ley lines. Magic exists in countless forms, from barely detectable to massively obvious. Ley lines naturally bridge the gap between subtle but pervasive sources of magic and the concrete applied force that moves mountains. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Ley lines are actually channels where magical power flows like an invisible river winding across the landscape. They are called lines because the length is their only measurement that has meaning in, quote, this dimension. Scholars and sages hotly debate the origin of ley lines, but their effects are undeniable. I love the idea of having specific places in the world where magic is more effective. Now, in our silver best-selling Fantastic Terrains, I have several terrains that are like this, where when you cast a specific type of magic, it's more potent, either at the next level up or increased DCs. And to me, those are kind of like tiny little ley lines. I think it would be really, really cool to have these where you enter these areas and certain elemental effects or illusions are just far more potent. Can you imagine you going into an area and the player using an Arcana check to distinguish that this is, oh man, this is what is this? An illusionary ley line, and you cast minor illusion, and it has the same effect as major illusion. You know what I mean? Give it that ups. I think this is really cool, and I think it would make for a great reason why major cities are in certain locations.
I like this idea too. Similar concept to what you said, but the fact that, like, what if they just accidentally stumbled upon it? Like, they're casting, like, the most obvious is Fireball, I guess. I hate that it's the
Kaboom.
most obvious, but you're like, I cast Fireball. Obviously, it's gonna make a big boom.
Or you cast Firebolt and it comes out as Fireball.
Oh shit!
He's just like,
He looks at his finger. Whoa, the damage I could do with this thing. Anyway.
unlimited power. But like, yeah, like he just casts Fireball, and like you say, it's like another like, I don't know, like a spell slot up or something like that. But it did more damage, and the character or the player was just like, that wasn't supposed to happen. But like, it worked out
I love
in their
it.
favor. But what if the enemy also consequently the
does
enemy did it, and it's just like, and we blew up harder.
It's
see.
funny you say that, because in Fantastic Trains, that's one of the things, the point of that is to create areas that the enemies and players fight over that 5 foot or 10 foot area, because they know it grants more power. At the very least, I got to keep the enemy from doing it. I think one of the ones we did was like an old necromancer's sacrificial area, where any necromancy magic used is doubled effect or increased effect. So you don't want the necromancer standing there. So your goal is less about killing him as quickly as possible than getting him out of there before they all kill you. So definitely check out Fantastic Terrain. You can find it at creatacademy.com. So
And Remley Fire here says, Wavy Gaming calls the evocation heat-based ley line on the ocean floor, which allows torches and fires to burn without being extinguished.
oh, that
Again,
is awesome.
a great way to like incorporate that,
That
right?
is
That is
fantastic.
just like there's so many things you could do with this like ley line concept.
I would agree.
I think.
Like a good to touch on that. Once again, I mentioned locations of cities. What if an entire city is in an area where magic that's based around ice or water is super enhanced, so they have a crystal tower
Alternatively,
in like the middle of like a summer place.
Alternatively, like you could say, like there was a lightning-based
It
ley
can
line, and
sponge
it just
buff.
powers everything. They don't know where the power's coming
That's
from.
Cool.
They just say like
geothermal energy.
exactly.
And stuff.
It's just like
Oh.
they just look at it and they're like, I don't know why it's working. There's no power source attached to it, and like some wizard comes in, it's like it's ley lines. It's always ley lines.
That's a really good
And
good
the-
wizard. I
and
like
then the
that.
scholar's like, no, it's not ley lines. They don't exist. You just have them bicker against each
Oh
other.
my god, I love it. Oh, that's
Like,
fantastic.
you can do some really, really. Again, now you have roleplay that can be added to, not just a mechanical based thing, but now
Right.
there's roleplay that can be involved with it.
Yeah, that also could be a good reason to explain why rifts to other dimensions open up. Maybe there's bursts of energy where ley lines cross, and poof, you get these locations where demons flood out. Oh, I'm loving this the more I think about it. So, do you have anything, Ian? I know you're talking to everyone on chat.
Yes, I'm talking about you in chat. And I don't have anything to add that where you say.
Did you say yes? I'm talking about you in chat.
Everyone, but that works too.
A good stamp. Oh, Handy says Eberron would be a good example of something built on a ley line. I would
Yes,
agree,
Eberron
because there's
would be a
magic everywhere.
Fantastic idea. Yes.
Fantastic.
Use ley lines in Eberron.
Is Eberron a city or it's a setting, right?
It's
It's
a
a
setting.
setting.
It's
Yeah.
a plane of existence.
Yeah, but I get what he's
I
saying.
think,
Though. I think it is too. Anyways, I think that'll do it for our Dungeon Master tip, ley lines. Thank you so much, Cobalt Press.
Woo.
Player tip of the podcast is don't be a dick. And you can avoid dickitude by role playing a drow. Now
lonely
this is something you want to do that? Do you want to take it?
Sure, why not?
Why don't you tell us how to role play a drow? Because believe it or not, I have not yet seen somebody actually play a good drow.
I haven't felt the need to play a drow, but maybe I will next
They treat them very
yeah,
much like
there's-
any other character, and they're not.
Yeah, they are
So-
not.
I feel
that.
like a lot of people play Drow when they're not playing Drow, though, and vice versa.
Right.
Yeah, but
Let's hear about it.
wherever you walk alone. The drow of the Underdark are no longer your people. Though you might still hold pride in some aspects of your heritage, you have fled from your kin and their wicked ways to live your life as an outcast. Trust must be built and earned. As a member of a race with a dark reputation, you face prejudice and fear from people who do not know you. If you are to create a life for yourself, you must earn their trust. Beware the eyes of Lolth. You might have abandoned the ways of the Spider Queen, but that does not mean she has forgotten her claim on you.
Oh shit.
Lolth is vengeful, and her agents might hunt you in the world, particularly if you are a person of importance before you fled to your people. use your reputation to your advantage. Don't forget that.
That's
Just
important.
because you're, everyone hates you and they fear you, make everyone hate you and fear you.
Or at least utilize it.
Utilize it. Regardless of how much you might strive for good, many of the common folk will treat you with fear and suspicion thanks to your race's history and dark reputation. From time to time, you should take advantage of this reputation. If the people of the frontier balk at your attempts to help them, let them know that you are a creature to be feared, and then use that fear as leverage to intimidate them into your following orders.
I love
Basically,
it.
scare them. It's fine.
Sometimes it's necessary.
And that's how you play Hot Topic Elf, my friends.
This is the elf that shops at Hot Topic, and this is how you play them.
The reason I brought this
elf.
up,
Goth elf.
I got this. I didn't write this. I got this from a book in 4E. But what I've noticed is when I do encounter that person that does manage to play a drow, they don't distinguish it from any other character other than
They're dark and edgy.
yeah. That's it. Like they
was a
don't
joke, but
utilize the actual what comes with being a drow. Wolf isn't letting you go.
No.
You can expect your character should be fearful of that all the time. The fact that drow are already outcasts and even raised differently, they don't really get along very well with people.
Almost
me,
anybody, yeah.
I think even like a good example to me is like Vegeta in Dragon Ball. Like he's a good guy, but nobody likes him.
Yeah.
Like he's very off in his own corner and he does what he has to, but he's not really, nobody really wants to work with him except for Goku, who wants to fight him all the time. But
Goku's a rare exception, though.
yeah, but that's kind of how I envision a drow needing to be played. I know Drizzt is definitely the exception to that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And that's what makes him different, but that's his unique personality. And I see a lot of people try to emulate that, which isn't really, in my opinion, the best way to play a drow. While there's nothing wrong with emulating Drizzt, I think Drizzt is an amazing character and have at it. But if you truly want to embody the playing of a drow, you need to remember that people will fear you, people won't trust you, and more importantly, you have a history and it's going to follow you everywhere.
That's the big thing with the drow is like it has a prerequisite. It's not on there, but it's there, and what it says is that you done fucked up at one point. It's not necessarily your fault, but unfortunately, it just befalls onto you.
Yeah. What do you think, Ian?
I kind of feel like a lot of people do play drows to a degree like this, just not necessarily in a way that is lore accurate either, though.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
read the stat block, people.
This isn't lore accurate?
No, I'm saying people read.
Oh,
the,
yeah, I got you. Read
It's
the story.
read the
Yeah.
lore.
There's a lot there.
but don't again. I mean, play as you will.
Yeah.
Always. I mean, if obviously if your DM doesn't mind and neither do any of the players, then go ahead, have at it. But
So, Remley says that drow always has twin blades. Is that true?
I know it's
That-
common equipment. For
I,
them,
I was gonna
so.
say I know it was common, but
Yeah, I don't know that
if
it's
it was
always, because I think
a
it depends on
requisite.
which school they went to, right? Either the martial one or the spellcaster. I can't remember the
Yes.
names. I've been listening
I know
to
what
that
you're
shit,
talking
but-
about, but yeah, it's the.
But I guess they could still carry them, I guess.
Yeah, I guess you could always have them, but like you don't use them. Like it's just kind of like you
Yeah.
had them when you were trained, and then you never wanted to use them again. You want to stray away from them because it reminds you. of
Oh, okay. He's saying that, no, just any time that I play on loud, drow players always use the phrase twin blades. I think that has to do with because of Drizzt, once again.
them. Like damn, just say you got two, you have two blades.
You got two, not twin blades. Unless they're identical. I guess they could be identical.
Well, you
Were they
could
born
also-
together? Forged together?
Again, like another thing is that like I mean, they're like Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. He had those scimitars, and he just split them in half, and then he used
That's
them both.
awesome.
Could do that.
Yeah, I like
Occasionally
it.
used it one-handed, but a lot of times you just kind of see him. He's like, "Oh, look at this!" and he goes, and you're like, "I didn't know they could do that."
Is that when he becomes the blue spirit?
Yes.
Yep. And
I
that's
love
basically what you do with the butterfly knives too, historically. So.
Yeah, I love it.
So you know,
All right. I think that'll do it for our player tip of the podcast. Don't be a dick. And you can avoid dickitude by role-playing a drow, a lonely path.
Although I suppose you could open this up by saying role-playing your race.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I considered making a whole thing on the race, but this was just one that I think
It's an
is the
example.
only one that really I don't know that I've ever seen actually anybody stick to. You see people play the dwarves right as a dwarf, and it's okay to change those and twist those, but I've never seen anybody play a drow correctly.
Playing a dwarf with a Scottish curmudgeon.
Yes.
Drink a lot. Think
Yeah.
about stones and work at a blacksmith. There, you're a dwarf.
Just remember, as a dwarf, you have to rock on.
And
See
you
what
must
I did
arm
there?
wrestle every single person who thinks they are stronger than you, or if you think you are stronger than them,
Yes, or drink them under the table.
or
Anyways,
drink them under the table.
that'll do it for our show today. Please join us on our next episode where we'll be discussing dragon lore. I am really excited about this because I don't think we've done a real lore episode yet, a lore heavy one, and I really want to talk about this because I just read the Dragonomicon. For the chromatic dragon. So
Sounds
I'm
awesome.
I'm making my way through the other one. So I'm really excited to talk about those and all that stuff. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it. So we're gonna bring dragons to your in your world to life with these rich bits of draconic knowledge.
Ooh.
Can I take that?
Yeah. If you have any feedback, unearthed tips and tricks, or
Plug in your charger. I am dying.
I thought
Sorry.
it was. Apparently,
Are
I
you
plugged in, I
still
moved
here?
everything.
technical difficulties.
No, you're all right. You can keep going.
If you have any feedback, unearthed tips and tricks, or topics you would like us to discuss, please send them to us. You can email them to us at critacademy@gmail.com or find us on Twitter and Facebook at Crit Academy. We hope you have enjoyed your experience here at Crit Academy. If you did, you can help others find the show by leaving a hopefully 5-star review on iTunes, or just send us a message telling us how much you enjoy the show. It helps this guy's ego all the time. And
Yeah.
also be sure to give us a like and a share. We appreciate it.
And make sure to subscribe to our show at critacademy.com. Follow us on Twitch TV/Crit Academy and subscribe on YouTube so we can help you on your future adventures, as well as a chance to win cool prizes each and every week. Make sure to check out our fellowship members as well.
Yes. So, if you would like to, as I mentioned before, our website's going to be coming out. Not our website. Our web store is going to be coming out on February 15th. Please, if you want to support the show, please check out some of the cool stuff we're going to have there. I've already kind of redid the symbiote class that we'll be selling on there for like $1, I think. It's gonna be some unique content. I've got a special. What did I advertise? It was called the Unearthed Adventures Volume 1 is in there, which is a nice big collection of one-page adventures.
There you go.
That they look really nice. I put a lot of
Yeah,
work
I remember
into
seeing
that.
you work on that. Yes, they do
Yes.
look very cool.
So I'm really excited for that. Most of them were written by myself or JVC Perry, who is a brilliant writer. So definitely check that out. If you'd like to go pick up some of our content that we've already released, we've got even free stuff. You can pick up our gun mage, which is a silver bestseller, I think, for a free product. You only get a medal when somebody buys it, and we were giving it away. And so people are loving it. So definitely check that out. I cannot recommend Fantastic Terrain and Challenge Accepted enough. Not because I wrote them, because everyone says they're awesome. You can read the reviews yourself. But if you want to bring new challenges and new ways to make your combat and stories and campaigns interesting, definitely consider checking them out. Thank you guys so much for all your support. You guys are awesome. I just did a thank you to everyone because it occurs to me that all the work that goes into the show, having followers who actually enjoy the content, really makes me want to do more, and you guys make that possible. We are only like a few followers away from 3,000 followers on Facebook.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, well, if you consider 2 weeks ago, we just hit 2,000.
Okay.
Sometimes it's like this.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster ride. So thank you guys so much, and that'll do it. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Austin.
And your co-host, Ian. Thanks for listening.
Keep your blades sharp and spells prepared, heroes. So I'm trying to close this, but it won't let me. It froze or something.
You know.
So let's all wave to the camera.
Bye.
Thank you guys so much. Why don't you take a look at our awesome credits of all of our amazing Patreon supporters?